Peace and love.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.
Peace and love. Peace and love. Peace and love podcast. Peace and love podcast. Peace and love podcast. Peace and love.
Yo, Peace and Love podcast. This is your man Emmitt. We're back in the studio, man. It's beautiful. The rain done cleared up, man. The sun is out. Feeling good. It's Friday, March the 8th, man. It's a lot, so many things going on, man. I hope everybody's good. Hope you slept good, man. I hope you said your prayers this morning. Let me get my camera angles together. Give me just a quick second. Boom, there it is. All right, again, Peace and Love podcast, man. One more time, just in case you missed it.
Peace and love.
We do have the warmth drive again. We're doing a warmth drive again this weekend in the city of Inglewood. Again, any jackets, coats, turtlenecks, beanies, whatever you got, man, you could bring it out to help some people that, it's a lot of people that's homeless in the city. We just want to do our part. Again, anything, man, socks, beanies, pillows, whatever you have, man, we're going to be in the community. We're going to be at 4 different locations tomorrow. It's going to be at 345 West Manchester. That's like right across the street from Inglewood High School. We have another location at 3018 Manchester. That's not too far away from Crenshaw in Manchester. And we have another location at 13701 Hawthorne Boulevard. That's not too far away from the South Bay Galleria. And then lastly, 1100 Hardy. That is going to be the 7-Eleven right across the street from the station. This is held at Accelerated Radio, probably one of the dopest podcast networks in LA. You guys stay tuned, man. We got a lot of stuff going on here at Accelerated Radio. We're really trying to embed ourselves within the city of Inglewood. It's a lot of new things happening in Inglewood. Got a new online TV show coming to the station. It's a lot going on, man. So again, if you want to help out, if you want to give back, you got any old clothes, I know you got some old stuff. If you got any old baby clothes, it's babies that are getting cold now also. And I know you might think, hey, what are these clothes going to do for these people? But every little bit helps, man. We'll eventually, expand it out to where we can feed people, and eventually we can start getting these people shelter. So nobody should have to sleep outside. Nobody should be hungry. Nobody should be cold. But just starting off, we're going to start with the warmth drive again. This is the Peace and Love podcast, Accelerated Radio, shirts, jackets, hats, whatever you got, man, bring them out. Moving on, man. So I got good news and I got bad news. My Lakers are... It's looking pretty bad for my Lakers right now. Yeah, it's looking like we're not going to make the playoffs. We may make the playoffs, but now the Lakers are contemplating on sitting LeBron James for the duration of the season just to, prevent any injury. And then in the offseason, we can pick up some trades and things like that. That definitely is a heartbreaker. Now, we know that we're only in this situation because LeBron James was injured. We all understand that. But it is what it is. We looking bad. But on a positive note, LeBron James just passed Michael Jordan on the all-time scoring list, which means LeBron James is going to go down as one of the greats all time. He was already going to go down as one of the greats, but now it's in history. LeBron James passes Michael Jordan on the all-time scoring list. That's such a huge accomplishment. Let's just hear what Stephen A. What does this say about LeBron? We have all the criticism about LeBron, all the negative. He don't have the killer instinct. He can't close a game. He's not selfish enough. He doesn't have what Jordan had. He doesn't have what Kobe had. What does Stephen A. say about the legacy of LeBron James after passing such a huge milestone?
Well, it just cements the fact of what we already know, that he's one of the greatest ever. And we just can't take that away from him. And it should elevate our appreciation for him even more so, because this guy was a superstar since he was a teenager, and the expectations were the expectations. And in a lot of respects, he not only, just achieved them, he exceeded expectations.
That's very true.
When you think about the career that he's had, about the only thing you can't say about him is that he is an MJ. And for him to pass MJ and to give kudos and respect and pay homage to MJ the way that he did, I thought it was incredibly appropriate because, he's speaking as a kid from Akron, Ohio.
He's a class act.
Clear, and Jalen can speak to this. He's a black kid. from Akron, Ohio. And when you're growing up in any inner city, the odds are stacked against you,
That's a
which
fact.
is something that LeBron James has alluded to on many occasions. Yeah, you saw Magic and the smile, and you saw America embrace Magic, but it was assisted by his relationship with Larry Bird. And so Ebony, Ivory, and all of that stuff, that made you more sellable, more marketable, et cetera, et cetera. MJ was on his own. His athleticism, the greatness, his competitive fervor, the trials and tribulations he had to endure and
Right.
overcome to get to the heights that he ultimately reached, doing so with style, with flair, with a lot of grace along the way as
He's
well.
speaking the truth, man.
These are the kind of things that, as a young black kid, you saw growing up that made you want to be him. His athleticism, sure, but the wardrobe stuff and everything else in between, the fact that Madison Avenue and beyond embraced him and allowed that individual, that black kid who used to wear Nike warm-up suits
That's a wrap.
on the bench for the Chicago Bulls when he was hurt, coming out of North Carolina, to then see him transition to wearing those fly suits and what have you. All of that had an impact. Jalen Rose spoke about this a months ago when he was talking about himself in the Fab Five and the baggy shorts and what have you, and how that.
All right, so basically he's talking about the legacy that Michael Jordan have and how LeBron has kind of, stepped in those shoes and created his own path. I feel like LeBron is a class act. Has probably been one of the most scrutinized athletes in the last 10 years, without a doubt. Everything LeBron does, whether it's good or bad, the media is all on top of him, and his brother always conduct himself like a leader. He never stoops to the level of the reporters. He don't never step outside of himself. I feels like he always represents himself in a proper manner. LeBron James is married to a black woman, and she fine too. She fine. LeBron James got little black kids, 2 little black boys, a little black girl. You know what I'm saying? LeBron James ain't sold out. He ain't never been half-stepping, man. So we always have to give credit where credit is due. It's very easy to say, well, LeBron don't have this, he's not this. But in terms of an athlete, LeBron James is the best athlete that we've seen in terms of what he's done just for the image of black men and on a social level, and then what he's done with the school, everything. LeBron James is the best athlete that we've seen within the last 10 years. Easy, hands down. I'd go as far as to say, in terms of what he represents in the media, how he carries himself, and the amount of power that this man has, LeBron James might be the best athlete since Muhammad Ali. That's a fact. If you think otherwise, you could get in the comments. Let me know. Any questions, comments, concerns, get at me at EMCGEEE. That's on IG. My email, emcgeee@icloud.com. Now, I saw this thing with Young Thug. He was on a video set. Shout out to Young Thug, man. He came out, made a big splash a couple years ago. It's kind of cold out here for him right now, but Young Thug, he has artists signed to him. So the new artist Gunner is signed to Young Thug. So Young Thug is still maintaining his relevance. So I didn't know that at first. I had to do some research. He's still doing his thing. But oftentimes when we hear Young Thug, we think about foolery, right? We think about him in a dress, him naming his album The Barter Six, when Lil Wayne was going through all these trials and tribulations just trying to get his album released. We heard about Lil Wayne getting his bus shot up a couple years ago. They said Young Thug was linked to that. Came out that he had nothing to do with it. Every time we hear Young Thug's name, it seems to be come attached to some controversy. So just recently we saw Young Thug. Well, I saw Young Thug on IG, and he had on the controversial Gucci blackface sweater. So he's on a video set, and he's wearing a Gucci blackface sweater, and just being Young Thug, doing what he does. Now, some might say all publicity is good publicity, right? Whether it's bad, whether it's good, but come on, man. And it then leads you to think, well, is it drugs? Is something in the drugs that's making people wild out? Is it the drugs? TK Kirkland says, well, who raised you? Who raised these people? Is it the drugs that these young kids are on, that these grown men are on, that have them just acting crazy? Now, we know I'm in Los Angeles, and marijuana is legal here, so you can just go to the store, have your ID, and go get you some marijuana if that's what you want to do. If that's your thing. However, we know that when things are mass produced, it's a supply and demand type of thing. And when things are produced on a large scale, the quality is scaled back a lot, and oftentimes it's big business. So when it's big business, people start cutting corners. They start doing things to the product that affects the quality of the product because of supply and demand. If it takes an apple X amount of time for it to be considered matured and able to be sold and eaten, if there's a way we can speed up that time to where we can get more apples in the store and make more sales, regardless of the quality of the apples, oftentimes big business sides with that. Okay, we don't care if it's going to hurt people. We don't care what we have to do. Whatever we can do to speed up production of this product, let's get it going. And once we got marijuana legalized here in Los Angeles, I started to become skeptical. Like, well, if it's produced on a mass scale like that, and they have to adhere to supply and demand from the customers, that means that the quality of the product is going to be tainted. I was doing some research, and I stumbled upon this. This is what I found. Check this out.
I-Team investigation finds that some marijuana sold in Southern California is loaded with toxic chemicals that may make you sick. The I-Team tested medical marijuana 2 years ago and found dangerous chemicals. Since then, the state legalized recreational pot and put new rules in place to make sure that it's safe. But investigative reporter Joel Grover finds some stores are still selling potentially poisonous pot, and authorities are letting them get away with it.
The I-Team is going shopping for weed, and store after store tells us what we're buying is free of toxic chemicals.
Are these pesticide-free?
Yeah, they're pesticide-free.
But as
So
you'll see,
oftentimes,
some of the pot we bought
when
is loaded
marijuana
with
is grown, a lot of times farmers use pesticides to keep the bugs off of the plants, to keep the buds from messing up the plants. Oftentimes those pesticides, when ingested, can be very hazardous. So they have a lot of pesticides that you can use that will kind of get around that aren't so hazardous for human ingestion. But most times when you're producing things on a large scale, you don't have time to be that specific. It's like, okay, we need the pesticides to kill the bugs. We're gonna spray it on all the plants. The bugs are gonna die, and then we'll just deal with the aftermath. But this is causing a lot of the stuff that you're buying to be poisonous. So let's keep this rolling.
24 LA shops and delivery services.
Oh, this is really easy. I didn't have to show you my ID.
No, that's cool.
Like Savage Society in North Hollywood.
Are these pesticide-free?
Yes, that's why I like it.
At Stash in Studio City, we heard the same thing when we bought these vape cartridges.
Are these pesticide-free? Yes.
So basically, that's what's going on. A lot of times, production is sped up. They're using things that are tainting the quality of the buds. These are for people that are into that. I don't partake necessarily, but if you're out, just be careful about what you're buying. Like again, if it's mass produced, then the quality is going to be tainted a little bit. So just be careful about what you're doing. And yeah, that's that. Now we're going to get to the elephant in the room, which is obviously the R. Kelly thing. We've all seen what's happening with R. Kelly.
Hated it.
What's going on with Michael Jackson.
Hated it.
I spoke about how there's a difference in the accountability when it comes to sexual assault. We've seen Harvey Weinstein. We've seen Kevin Spacey, Matt Lauer, the guy who touched Terry Crews. All of these men seem like they just got off with a slap on the wrist. Nothing's happened. And we've seen all these other guys, R. Kelly, Michael Jackson, Bill Cosby, go to jail.
Hated it.
And I mean, this is a fact. The truth is the truth. The truth is the truth. And I don't say this to say, well, if we prosecute these people, you know what I'm saying? I'm not pointing any fingers. No sin is worse than the other sin. I just feel like everybody should be held accountable to what's going on. I got a very, very touching DM the other day. a cat that went to King Drew with me. I was a senior at the time when this dude was a freshman, and I spoke about this a couple weeks ago. I spoke about when I wanted to get an earring, and somebody told me, "Oh, you cute, Emmitt, you cute, but you ain't really on like that because you don't have no earring." And that sent me into, okay, I need to get this earring, such and such and such, and then I eventually got away from that. But what's funny, this young man reached out to me and told me, like, man, I remember being at King Drew while you were a senior, I was a freshman, and it was a particular girl that was just throwing it at me. She was throwing it at me consistently, and all of my friends were saying, man, she's a senior, you need to jump on that, you need to do that. And he said somehow me and him crossed paths, and he asked me about it, and I told him, man, with this particular girl, I understand it might be fun, bro, but you might want to think about that because you might go up in there and leave with something. You don't want to catch nothing. Snoop said it the best. It ain't nothing good enough to get burnt while I'm up in it. Now, I don't remember this conversation with this young man, but he told me that that's something that stuck with him. He didn't move on that. He said he graduated from King Drew, went on to Howard University like myself. So he's gotta be a good guy, gotta be a handsome, smart guy. The truth is the truth. And he said that's some information that just stuck with him, that he carried on with him through high school, through college. And he said, man, I want to let you know I thank you for that advice because I never caught nothing, right? So it was touching to me. It was touching. And not to say if you catch something, whatever, you're a bad person, but just being careful. We always talk about being careful here on the show, and I was glad to have been able to give somebody some advice that they was able to hold on to. So we asked him, he said, man, well, I want you to talk about a time where somebody gave you some advice that you've held on to that kind of kept you on the straight and narrow, And it took me back immediately to something that's been said to me my whole life. My dad would tell me this consistently. And I think the first time my dad gave me this advice, I had to be at least 3 or 4 years old. Aww. Just a young lad, baby Emmitt, just a little guy. But my dad would tell me this all the time, and it stuck with me, man. I still hear it to this day. It stuck with me all through college. It stuck with me all through high school. It's something that has kept me on the straight and narrow, and it is the reason to this day why I don't have any kids. So I'm going to give this advice. I'm going to share this advice, and then for the duration of the show, everything is linked to this because it's like a each one teach one. My pops used to tell me this, man, and I'm telling you, he would tell me this as a young guy. He would always say, Emmitt, don't let your penis make a slave out of you. Pops would always tell me this. And as a young guy, I didn't know what he was talking about. I'm 4 or 5 years old. My pops is telling me, Emmitt, don't let your penis make a slave out of you. And I'm thinking, Pops, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? All through middle school, he would kind of just drop these little seeds in me. Boom, there you go. Just take that. Don't let that happen to you. Not knowing what he's talking about. So then once I get of age and I start feeling myself. I jumped out into the world a little early in terms of the birds and the bees, right? So I'm feeling myself a little bit, and my pops, I think he can smell it on me. And he would keep telling me, son, don't let your man part make a slave out of you. Never understood what he was saying. As you keep living, you understand relationships are a lot. Oftentimes you get in relationships, you break up, things happen. But once you have kids involved, things get a little different. And kids are beautiful. Kids are amazing. I plan to have kids, man, starting next year. My lady wants to have at least 10 kids. So I gotta do my part. So we gotta start getting these babies together. So maybe sometime next year we'll start pushing them out, right? But Pops used to always say, man, you gotta be careful because you don't want your penis to make a slave out of you. We're going to leave that there. Currently, there's a man in the media who's allowed his penis to make a slave out of him. We're going to cut to this just to see what brother R. Kelly had to say about the allegations going on in his household.
Forget the blogs. Forget how you feel about me. Hate me if you want to, love me if you want, but just use your common sense. How stupid would it be for me to, with my crazy past and what I've been through, right now I just think I need to be a monster and hold girls against their will, chain them up in my basement. Robert. I didn't do this stuff. This is not me. I'm fighting for my life.
An explosive R. Kelly erupts during his first interview since being charged with sexual abuse.
So R. Kelly has obviously been in the news for surviving R. Kelly, and now he came on an interview with Gail, and it was explosive. This brother's crying. He's going through all the emotions, and you know that the internet is undefeated. The internet don't care about R. Kelly crying. The internet don't have no sympathy for that. You get in a relationship, you got kids floating around, y'all decide to break up. You think this woman care about your feelings and all that? No, she don't care. The internet don't care. This is what the internet did with R. Kelly's feelings and emotions. This is what the internet did. For everybody in New Jersey has a dance called the Wu-Tang. When I was at Howard, a lot of my friends were from New Jersey. They have a dance called the Wu-Tang. They've cut up the R. Kelly interview, and they've made it a dance track, and this is currently going off in New Jersey right now. Check this out.
It's not about music. I'm trying to have a relationship with my kids, and I can't do it. So I just don't want to believe the truth. You don't want to believe it.
At this point, we briefly pause the interview to give Kelly a moment.
The internet don't care. The internet don't care. Okay? Got to be careful about what we're doing. And we see that throughout all these allegations with R. Kelly, the thing that's going to get him aren't even the allegations. It might not even be the video. The thing that got R. Kelly in jail right now is child support. Now, this was introduced to our communities in 1975. Some people might say child support is a positive thing. It's been put in place, so if a man leaves, the child can still be supported. 100% agree with that. Makes perfect sense. The children need to be supported. 100%. But oftentimes I feel like child support is used in the wrong way. When it's used as a weapon, it could be used in the wrong way. Now, I'm not saying that in R. Kelly's situation is used as a weapon, no. But there are countless brothers that are dealing with child support issues. Kevin Garnett's ex-wife right now is requesting $200,000 a month for child support. Now, they say your child support is directly related to how much money you make. Okay. But does it take $200,000 a month to raise kids? I don't understand that. And I don't understand how these judges keep giving off these how are they allowing this to happen like this? They have to find a balance because it's getting completely out of control. Out of control. In recent news, Dame Dash also had to turn himself in. No sexual assault allegations, nothing like that. But he too himself was caught up in a debacle for child support. Now, I thank God that my dad would always tell me, son, don't let your penis make a slave out of you. Didn't understand what that meant. But he said, man, if you get on child support and you're paying a woman to take care of your babies, and you know for a fact this money that you're paying is not going towards your kids, you're going to feel like a slave. That's a fact. Let's hear what Dame Dash had to say about his current situation with his ex-wife, Rachel Roy, and why he had to turn himself in to the boys.
these warrants saying I didn't pay child support. But the way I was things set up is that when the money would go in the company, the Rachel Roy company, Rachel would cut the checks. So, we all moved to LA, and all of a sudden I got warrants, so I wasn't there to answer. But I didn't realize that no one had been paying the child support. So when I finally realized what happened, I'm like, yo, I don't have nothing to do with that. Yo, she cuts her own checks. And I had just given my son's mother $150,000 to buy a house. So I'm like, why am I having warrants? I just gave one $150,000. I just gave the other $50,000, and she's in control of her own checks. So I got warrants for this. So I've been out here, but I've missed funerals. I haven't been able to see my son, and I'm sick of this shit. And I just found out that I have proof that she got the money. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna turn myself in. But also, I'm sitting in jail for 3 or 4 days, or whatever they want to accuse me of doing. I'm an innocent man. So there's no reason for me not to go turn myself in. I'm sick of my name being compromised, and I want my company back because I got it back. And I'm not going to be leveraged. So Rachel's telling me that unless I give up 51% of the company,
51%.
she won't sign, and I'm not doing it. Listen, I love Rachel. She's a great mom. And I hate that I got to air my personal business out like that. And I don't want
So, yeah, man, it happens to the best of us, right? And I'm no different. Everybody make missteps. You got to get back on your feet and make it happen. But in terms of relationships going bad, Dame Dash had a company, had a clothing line with his ex-wife Rachel Roy. He said it started as a luxury brand, opened it up with her. They got it running. He allowed her to, control the books, do everything. A couple years later, he said the brand is messed up, it's compromised, it's not a luxury brand anymore. I'm buying my company back. Rachel Way won't sign off on a company unless Dame says you still have control, meaning you still have 51% ownership of the company. And Dame is saying, man, I'm buying the company back. I'm not giving you complete ownership of the company. She says, okay, well, you haven't paid child support, and now Dame had to go to jail. So I'm not completely on the man's side because I understand child support. It works both ways, and it's put in place to be used properly. If it's used properly, the children shouldn't suffer from the fallouts of the adults, right? We understand that. But how many times is child support now used as a weapon? Child support is almost used as a tool to keep a man in place. Well, if you get out of line, you're going to be on child support. Interesting. Let me know your thoughts, man, in the comments, or you can hit me in my DM. Again, I've seen it from afar. I myself haven't had to deal with it. I've seen my uncles go through it. I've heard countless stories, and it's a scary situation. It's a very scary situation. Again, Kevin Garnett's ex-wife is seeking $200,000. Jeff Bezos' ex-wife is seeking something crazy. It happens like this. And again, a man, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful with how you moving. Be careful, man. So we're gonna get into this thing, man. We're gonna do Hell to the Gnaw next, but we're gonna get into this story time section. And somebody gave me a call. And had a story themselves of a relationship horror story. I'm going to let this run, allow you guys to check it out, and let me know what your thoughts are. Again, after this, we'll get into the Hell to the Gnaw section, but it's a lesson in, brothers, we got to be careful, man. Let me get this right. We got to be careful. In your 20s, young men, we running around, we having fun, we using sex. It's like a sport. You got to get good at it. You got to know what you're doing. You got to get your, I understand. Not saying that's right, but I understand. But the world is changing. And again, like my pops used to always tell me, man, I appreciate that brother for reaching out and telling me that advice helped him out. And I'm going to give you what's kept me in line forever. You don't want to let your penis make a slave out of you, man, because it's very, very real. We're going to play this story, man. And after that, please let me know what your thoughts are. Again, I'm not trying to bash women. I'm not trying to come down on you guys. I know this works both ways. These are just some of my examples of what can happen. So the first story is a young lady this is more, excuse the language on this. We just gonna play it. This is for men, you know, she out in the club, or you out, you see her, body looking right, you know what I'm saying? She might got a, you know, she got a fatty on her or something like that. I'm gonna talk to her, whatever, because you're just trying to investigate the situation. You're trying to see what's happening. You gotta be careful, man. The first situation is from a woman probably around my age, and she's talked about how she finessed this young man who appeared to be a good guy, but she only finessed him because she knew her man was finna go to jail, and she needed somebody to be there for her kids. So check this out.
Say finesse. Let's just make something clear. Let's just make something clear, pussy nigga. The whole time when I was fucking, around the time that Nikana got, bitch, I was fucking with you and I was fucking with Jit, bitch. I was fucking you and I was fucking Jit, bitch. I was fucking you and I was fucking Jit, bitch. I knew I was pregnant by Jit. But since you want to say you used me, bitch, I used you and I used your motherfucking family, but just because I knew that Jit was finna go to the feds, bitch.
So, and that's one clip. So she's saying, you know, whatever. I was still with my baby daddy. I knew he was going to the feds. Somebody had to be there for my kids, so I used you. I finessed you, and I finessed your family. And now what? It gets a little more shocking toward the end of this video message, because what's very pertinent is that this young lady is pregnant, and whoever this guy is that she's talking to has now played himself. Where do I have that drop? I do. Congratulations. You played yourself, because this young lady is expecting. She's talking reckless, and she's telling this young man, and now what? I'm pregnant with your baby. Child support is coming, and you've officially played yourself. Let's hear the ending of this, just real quick.
Bitch, you just paid my motherfucking phone bill. Fuck wrong with you, pussy ass nigga. Got me fucked up, bro. You really got me fucked up on so many levels. But bitch, I'm pregnant by you now.
That's all I could take, man. Listen, man.
She said, I'm pregnant by you now. We know what that means. It's a wrap for you, sir. You've officially played yourself. So we're gonna get into this other story. Not so tragic, you know, that's a little more ratchet, right? We're gonna get into something else. Just and let me know your thoughts. Again, all I'm saying is, men, we can say she tricked you and all this and that. You just gotta be careful, man. You gotta be careful. Don't let your penis make a slave out you, man. We're gonna get into this next story. Here we go.
My wife, she's having an extramarital affair. I can't prove that, but all the signs point in that direction. She gets off work at 5 o'clock. She's never home before 11, 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. She comes home. She's drunk. I'm not a drinker, never have been. That doesn't make me an angel, but alcohol has just never been my thing. My wife comes home drunk. We get into it. I call the police. The police come to the house. They tell me what I need to do. Oh, by the way, my hands are all scratched up because she wants to fight. So I'm trying to restrain her, keep her away from me. Please get there. My hands are all scratched up. She doesn't have a mark on her. They tell me I need to file a protection for abuse. I've never been through this, so I don't really understand the situation. But once I found out that meant she would be restrained and she couldn't come to the house, I have 5 children. I'm saying, hey, I don't want this to happen, so I don't file this. I literally leave the house, this is in the morning, to go pay the mortgage and the gas bill, one of the other bills. I don't know what it was. But she, in turn, goes to the police and do what they told me to do.
Okay.
I return home to the house. She leaves with the kids.
Okay.
I realize that the house is empty. I don't really know what's going on. But 10 minutes later, knock on the door. It's the police.
Wow.
They give me 10 minutes to get out of my house. I'm a musician for my church. Now, I need work clothes, I need my instruments, and I'm leaving my house. Well, long story short, I'm given a court date. That court date is 6 weeks away, so I'm out of my home for 6 weeks. My oldest child at that time, my wife had 2 and I met her, but my oldest child at that time is 9 years old. I have 3 by my wife. I've never been away from those children any longer than 3 days. We go on vacation. We got a house full of kids. I figured 3 days, we got to go home, check on the kids, because my mama, her mama, nobody can take care of my kids like we can.
Right.
So I'm saying that to say I've never been away from my children, but because of this situation, now I'm away from my children. It's 6 weeks I don't get to see my children. I go to court. I win the domestic violence case. So I have the right to return home. I wait another 2 weeks before I go home, but under the advice of a lawyer, he says if you don't go home, then your wife can say you abandoned her. So I go home. The same day I go home, my wife moves out of the home. While I'm at work, she empties out the house. I get another court date, go to court. They give me 10 days to vacate the premises because they say the children need a place to live, which I understand. But again, this is a woman who is infidelity. She's coming home drunk. She's not coming home at all sometimes. Nevertheless, I have to vacate the premises. Long story short, 47% of my wages have been garnished. I make $900 a week. Because of the 47% garnishment and the health care benefits and other stuff that I pay, out of $900, I now bring home $249 a week. I am 58 years old, and now I'm living back at home. I'm living in my father's home because I cannot afford to put a roof over my own head. So, and then I get to see my children, these children that I'm never away from. I get to see them every other weekend, which turns out to be every 12 days. It is a nightmare. It is an ongoing nightmare. As a matter of fact, I even have pictures of my wife with the man she was cheating on me with. I wasn't even out of my house 2 months, and he was already living in my home. He now lives in my home with my wife and my children. I send her $1,200 a month, which comes up to $14,000 a year, and I can't even afford to put a roof over my own head. I lost my house. I lost my health. I lost my children. I lost my finances. I lost my cars, and on and on and on and on. And it all comes down to money. I'm paying lawyers. I mean, literally, I'm standing in court with tears running down my face saying to the judge, Your Honor, how am I supposed to live? How do I survive? And I had a lawyer who specialized in men and fathers' rights, and he told me, you can go to court, Mr. Ward, he said, and you can prove that your wife is a crackhead whore. And he said, and you still only have a 12% chance of winning custody of the children.
All right. So, as you can see, this man said that he had proof that his wife was cheating on him. The police told him what he needed to do. He decided not to do that because he has kids. He didn't want his wife to be removed from the household. In that process, his wife did what the police told him to do and told him he had to get out of his house, moved out, had to move all his stuff out the house, had to go to court, got a restraining order with the child support. Now this brother has to pay, what'd he say? X amount of dollars every month to pay for the mortgage that he can't live in the house. And it's another man living in the house. With your, how does that work? How did the court sign off on that? How did the court say, you know what? This is what's fair. This is what we're going to do. And this is okay. And why do, it's like once we get the police involved, once you get the state involved in your relationship, it's a wrap. And my friends used to always say, man, if you with a girl and she'll call the police on you, that ain't the one you need to be with. Now, I'm not saying a man, you don't have to raise your voice. You don't need to be putting your hands on no women or nothing like that. But there's no reason for us to have to get the laws involved in our relationship, because once they get involved in a relationship, it's going to take a nasty turn. The truth is the truth. Boy. So that was just, again, please let me know any comments, concerns. Let me know if you got a horror story. And I've got more stories about this child support thing. I've heard stories from my family, from brothers close to me. I'm paying child support, and then I see her pull up in a brand new Benz with the new man inside the car. And I know for a fact I'm paying for the new Benz. The child support is supposed to be going for my child. But when women start saying, you better have my money on the first, whoopty-whoopty, goopty, boop, boop, I think child support is used as a weapon. It shouldn't be used like that. And I don't, and in my heart of hearts, I don't think nobody else goes through these child support issues like this on such a large scale like black men do. You see all these all these rappers, athletes. Anytime you hear about some child support stuff, it's always a black man involved. Do white boys pay child support? You don't never see no white boys, nothing considered child support. I know it's some white athletes that got some child support payments. But anytime you see something going on with child support, it's always black men don't take care of their kids, black men don't do this, and they not paying their child support. I don't know, man. It's too much of a coincidence for me. I'm going to get off of this topic. We're going to move on to the health and all section, man. But I just feel like, brothers, if you got kids right now, you got to handle your business. You got to do what you got to do, right? But if you don't have kids and you watching this, just be careful. I'm not telling you not to go have fun. Hey, women are beautiful. I understand, bro. But just be careful because, again, you don't want to let, well, my pops used to tell me, man, I'm giving it to you guys. You don't want to let your penis make a slave out of you, man. My bad. I played Tick Drop. My bad.
Peace and love.
We're going to get on to the next section. All right, so this section, man, 2 South African farmers decided that they were going to take the law into their own hands. They didn't call the police. They didn't want to do none of that. They felt like we farmers, we work in this land. We in Africa. You know, they feel like that's their land anyway, right? And they decided just to take the law into their own hands. Let's hear what happened with these 2 South African farmers. 2 white
Peter
guys.
Doorwaard and Philip Scooter were last year found guilty of killing a 15-year-old black boy whom they'd caught stealing sunflowers on a farm where they worked. They've now been sentenced. Doorwaard to 18 years and Scooter to 23 years in prison. The sentence comes 2 years after Matlomola Moswe was on the outskirts
I'm not gonna get too deep into the story, man. These South African farmers saw a young black boy take some sunflowers from the farm and decided to kill him because he took some sunflowers. Now, I don't know. I know. They don't. I understand completely. They feel like they don't have to be accountable for anything. They're gonna do what they want to do. I understand completely. But you played yourself. Congratulations, you played yourself.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Yeah, you can't go around shooting people because they stole some sunflowers. Not gonna happen. I'm sorry about that. It's not cool. All right, moving on. Okay, fellas, we speak about plastic surgery a lot. You got to be happy with what God gave you, right? God don't make no mistakes. If there's something that you don't like about yourself, change it. Get disciplined, change it. You don't like your gut, go to the gym, work out, change it. You don't like the way you look, change it. Not pay for it. You can add some discipline in your life, and whatever it is you don't like about yourself, you can change it. I wholeheartedly believe that, right? We've seen women go through the phases of fake breasts, and we got the fake hair and the fake lashes and the fake nails, fake eyes, fake backs, fake everything. Fake everything. And now it's starting to spill over into it's starting to spill over on our side. Men are starting to get plastic surgery. And if you think about a man getting plastic surgery, yeah, you know, you might want some big muscles or bigger chest or something like that. But the first thing you think about, a man wants to get plastic surgery, you thinking, he gonna try to extend his homie.
That's nasty.
He gonna try to, get a little extendo. He gonna try to stretch him out, Fellas, you got to be happy with what you got. And it's research if you want some more. There's ways that you can physically work yourself out to enhance yourself. But don't go sit on a plastic surgery table to get your manhood right. It's not going to work.
That's nasty.
It's not going to work. Ew. A billionaire diamond trader, 65-year-old billionaire diamond trader, just died on an operating table after trying to get penis enlargement surgery. Fellas, I'm telling you again, God don't make no mistakes. If you don't like what you got, there's some things you can do physically to get yourself together. But don't go sit on the table trying to stretch him out.
That's nasty.
It's nasty.
Ew.
That's not cool, bro. Let's check this out.
A billionaire diamond trader has died after suffering a heart attack during a penis enlargement operation in Paris. Ahmed Arielaniano, 65, was at an unidentified private clinic on the Avenue des Champs-Élysées in the French capital on Saturday when complications during surgery proved fatal. The experienced diamond expert's heart attack happened when a substance was injected into his penis, Belgian media reported. Mr. Laniato's company Omega Diamonds, which is based in the Belgian city of Antwerp, confirmed his passing. A statement from the firm said farewell to the visionary.
To the no, 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 hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, 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 hell no, no, to the no, no, hell to the no, no, to the no.
Yeah, just don't do that, fellas. I ain't gotta say too much more about that. And this man was 65. You have been living with what you have for 65 years, bro. It don't make no more sense to you gonna try to live like a, you know what I'm saying? You gonna try to be a big dog in your last, come on, bro. You played yourself, man.
Congratulations. You played yourself.
Played yourself completely. Again, any questions, comments, concerns, something you want to talk about? First guest coming on 316. We got some co-hosts coming. We got some things moving, man. A lot of things coming. Talking about the YouTube, Spotify is gonna be put up there. It's coming together, man. This is Peace and Love podcast, man. I want you guys to go nowhere. We're gonna get into this close. This whole show was for the fellas. Fellas, we gotta be careful. Remember, ain't nothing good enough to get burnt while I'm up in it. It ain't that. Come on, bro. Be careful. Don't let your man part make a slave out of you. And if you're already feeling like that, there's a way that you can get your situation back online. You gotta get on your knees. You gotta go to the source. You gotta figure it out. You gotta figure it out, man. But we gotta be careful. We're gonna get into this close. Again, Warmth Drive is happening tomorrow. Any, jackets, hats, beanies, turtlenecks, cover, whatever you got, man, let us know. Put it in the comments. I gave you the locations. 345 West Manchester, 3018 Manchester, 13701 Hawthorne Boulevard, and 1100 Hardy. Again, today, this is for the fellas, man. You the master of your destiny, bro. You got it, man. You got power. You're very powerful. You got to be careful with how you moving out here in these streets. You got to be careful. It's Friday. A lot of people going out tonight. There's going to be some brothers that get burnt tonight. But just be careful, bro. You going into something new, strap up. Be careful. So I'm coming from Proverbs chapter 11, verse 22 today. One more time, Proverbs chapter 11, verse 22. This says, like a gold ring in a pig's snout is a beautiful woman without discretion. Without discretion, I'm sorry. One more time. Like a gold ring in a pig's snout is a beautiful woman without discretion. So that's saying, bro, she could be the baddest thing in the world. Arm trophy, everything. But if her morals ain't right, if her soul ain't right, if she ain't no sweet woman, it's worthless. It's like having a gold ring in a pig's snout. It's worthless. And a lot of you brothers are laying down with pigs, having little piglets. And then you looking around like, man, I don't know what's going on. She tripping, woo woo. You got to be careful, bro. You got to stop making little piglets with these pigs. And we're not talking about how a woman look. I'm talking about her soul, how she look on the inside. So again, like a gold ring in a pig's snout is a beautiful woman without discretion. She might be showing it all, might look like a good time. But that woman that we played that audio for, she like, yeah, I tricked you, I finessed you and your family. She probably was gorgeous and tricked you, finessed you. I got one more for the fellas. Proverbs chapter 21 verse 19 says, it is better to live in a desert land than with a quarrelsome and fretful woman. It's better to live in a desert land by yourself, no water, no nothing, just out there in the desert, than to live in a house with a quarrelsome and fretful woman. It's very important that we are selective in our choices. I know we all think we got the best one until it hit the fan, and then you realize, oh. And I can't even say I got it all figured out. I don't. I still make mistakes. But my pops used to tell me, son, don't let your penis make a slave out of you. And it stuck with me to this day. I hope you guys can use that, man. This is a Peace and Love podcast. Your man, Emmitt. I'll see you guys on Monday. Again, come out to this warm drive. Any questions, comments, concerns, get in the comments. Let me know. It's been real. Y'all take it easy.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up!
Peace and love. Peace and love. Peace and love podcast. Peace and love podcast. Peace and love podcast. Peace and love.